Hey team, hope you're all doing well. Today's topic, I wanted to make a video over a question I got from Ben Y8B. He said, what are your go-to long runs for half marathons? 2K, 3K, 4K, or 5K reps? I had a lot of different types of training options. When I was training for half marathons and the marathon distance, I did a lot of different variations in terms of running at specific marathon goal race pace during my long run. So yeah, I did do repeat 2K, 3K, 4, and 5K reps during my long runs. One of my favorite types of workouts that I did training for the half marathon and marathon is I would always like to drop a sub 5 minute mile every fourth to fifth mile in my long run. So probably the toughest long run I ever did was a 24 miler, where I would drop every fifth mile during that 24 miler, drop like a 455 to 457 mile in the middle every fifth mile. So again, I was always forcing myself to try to get my goal race pace, which back in 2007 was to run under 2 hours and 22 minutes for the marathon. That comes out to 5:25 per mile. I'm not sure what the equivalent is per kilometer, but it's probably around 3:22, 3:23 per K. And so the goal was, and it is for every runner, if you're trying to run a specific goal race pace for your marathon distance or half marathon, is to get goal race pace to feel more like a moderate effort versus like an all-out effort. Okay, it's going, no matter how fit we are in the half marathon, marathon, or any distance, doing these long runs teaches us to get uncomfortable, to get beyond just running slow and easy. Yes, there is certainly a place for that. If you're planning to run a new PR in the half marathon or marathon, you can't just get in the mindset of running fast all the time. Okay, so yes, I did do a lot of variations, a lot of in terms of what were my go-to long runs for half marathons. I liked getting to a point also where I could run under 6 minute mile pace for 20 to 23 miles at altitude when I was living in Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs sits at around 6,000 feet. So I knew that if I could run in the 5:30s to 5:40s per mile pace, or the equivalent in kilometer pace, I knew I was going to be prepared for my marathons and half marathon races. It took me several years to get the half marathon distance down, and I don't think I ever really perfected it. Okay, just like any other athlete. I mean, we're all, regardless if you're a total beginner or you've been involved in the sport for several years, there's so many things that we can get right or we can improve upon in these longer races. And one of the most important things is running economy. Okay, getting to a point where we can clear lactic acid more effectively. We slow down less. We're not as affected by the goal race pace until the latter stages of our race, maybe like the last 5 kilometers versus, the first 10K. You don't want to be hurting the first, say, 16 kilometers of a marathon, or the first 8 kilometers of a 21.1 kilometer race, half marathon distance. So I always stress this. I stress it in my courses. I stress it in the training plans as well. You don't want to get in the habit of running slow all of the time. There's certainly you have to know too, to run faster, as I mentioned earlier, to run faster in the half marathon in these longer races. You can't just run fast all the time. So it is still important to run long, slow, and easy for long periods of time as well, especially during the early stages of a buildup. Okay, if you're doing which I hope you're doing, a minimum of a 16-week, but preferably 20 to 24-week buildup, you have to spend 3 to 4 to 5 weeks running easy, long, slow runs first. Don't jump into these faster, very paced long runs. Okay, you have to build that foundation of aerobic mileage first. Build that aerobic fitness before you jump into doing faster, harder anaerobic work, where you're running more at race pace or faster than race pace. You're running at VO2 max effort at times. Okay, there were times during my long runs where I really was stressing my max in terms of running at maximal effort for certain periods of my long runs. It might have been just a few minutes, a few kilometers, a few miles at a time, but only short bursts, like 1 mile bursts, where I'm running at VO2 max, like really, really quick. And then I would bounce, and I would run easy for a few miles or kilometers, then back up toward anaerobic threshold effort, Then at VO2 max effort, very jogging several miles. So again, there was a variation of it, okay? And that's what you want to do, but you have to first learn to run slow and easy, because you're not going to, not me or anybody else, world-class athletes that are at the very top of the chain, they have to slowly build their fitness in. And I think a common mistake that a lot of us make, and I made it too earlier in my career, is we want quick results. Okay, it's natural to want that. It's natural to want to go out and to be able to do a 4-mile tempo run and to be able to handle that pace immediately. It doesn't work that way. Okay, it's like we're rushing the process. So I think if you first, you're a little bit more patient, you remind yourself of delayed gratification, knowing that personal best and running at very high levels in the sport, whether on the track or on the roads, it's going to come. It's going to take place. But you have to have that patience and the belief in delayed gratification that, hey, I'm going to commit, I'm going to be persistent in what I'm doing, but I also have to remind myself of what the great coaches talk about, like the late Dr. Joe Vigil, saying it does take about 28 days to adapt to any physiological stress you're placing on the body. Okay, so if you're having a hard time right now doing mile repeats on the track, say at like 7-minute mile pace, and you're really struggling, keep doing it. Keep putting in that work. 3 to 4 weeks down the line, you're not going to have as much of a hard time running repeat 1600s on the track or repeat miles 1609 meters on the track at 7-minute pace. It's going to become more manageable. Okay, the same goes with your long runs. Okay, be gradual with the process. You know, even in my training plans and what I teach in the courses is that I always say, run first, build a foundation of easy aerobic mileage first. You build that foundation, that endurance first. Then you start working on the stamina and the strength and the stamina, the faster type efforts in your long runs. But alternate it. You run easy one weekend, you run harder the next weekend. But it's in some cases, and don't be surprised, you may need to jog for 2 to 3 days after you do a hard, varied pace long run. I mean, I needed time up to 3 days of easy jogging. The hardest workout I did, hands down, even when I was in my prime, going, training at the highest level that I possibly could with the amount of capability that I had, hardest workout I did was my long run. It wasn't track sessions, it wasn't hill repetitions, it wasn't repeat 2 miles, repeat 800s, all that stuff. Yes, it was hard, the long run, because it's already hard enough to go out and run 32K, 40K easy, but to do that where you're throwing in really hard bursts, you're throwing in 3K reps, 4K reps, like Ben mentioned in his question here. To do that, you have to, you're already fatigued, and then you're forcing yourself to really bump up the lactic acid buildup, and you're already fatigued. So you have to be very cognizant of the fact that after you do these workouts, remember, look up the word supercompensation. Most runners don't know anything about it. Okay, it's what you're doing the hours after you do your hard workouts that count. It's all the real benefits of our hard training don't occur during the workout itself. They occur the hours after you do your workout. Okay, it's the rest. It's when you're sleeping, when your body restores itself. It's the nutrition. It's the hydration. It's not stressing so much over if a workout didn't go the right way, or your race didn't go quite the way you wanted to. Remember, again, it takes time to adapt. Okay, so every workout you do, every race you do is one step closer to that goal effort, whether it's at the half marathon distance, as Ben mentioned, or the marathon, or the 800 on the track, or the 1500 mile, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to do, whether you're just starting, whether you have the goal of running your first 5K, or you want to run under, you want to earn a Boston Marathon qualifying standard, wherever you're at, remind yourself that this is a process. The great runners, or just to get to the next level, wherever you're currently at, it does take time, but you're going to get there. You will do it, okay? But these are some of in terms of his question of what are your go-to for long runs, go-to workouts, I'm thinking is what he was asking. What are your go-to long runs for half marathons? These were some of the things that I like to do. I like to vary up my paces. I like to do a mixture of reps, whether it was repeat 1K on, 1K off, hard, 1K jogging, 1K hard, doing that for 20 to 25K of a 40K long run. A lot of different variations, but these were some of the things that I did, and I hope it answers your question, Ben. If any of you have any other questions regarding long runs or any other topic, feel free to check out the resources below, and I will definitely reach back out to you and respond. So check out the resources on RunDreamAchieve.com. There are some new options as well, and I will make a video about that and launch that this week as well. So thanks so much for your support, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.